The bodies keep coming. More than 100 so far pulled from the rubble on this street in West Mosul. Civilian defense workers try to help. Survivors tell of the horror.
More than 100 people were inside. Half an hour later, the house was hit in an airstrike.
The U.S. military investigating what happened March 17th when airstrikes were quickly called in at the request of Iraqi forces. A suicide bomber in a truck filled with explosives was believed to be there, according to Iraqis.
The coalition conducted strikes in that area, a number of strikes throughout that neighborhood, and one fairly close to the place where they have indicated that they have civilian casualties.
The U.S. believes ISIS was using dozens of civilians as human shields, not letting them escape the fighting.
Whether the area was hit by an airstrike or booby-trapped by ISIS, a mistake has happened. Civilians have died. We are responsible for them.
Defense Secretary James Mattis insisting the U.S. is careful to protect civilians.
There is no military force in the world that has proven more sensitive to civilian casualties. We are keenly aware that every battlefield where an enemy hides behind women and children is also a humanitarian field, and we go out of our way to always do everything humanly possible to reduce the loss of life or injury among innocent people. The same cannot be said for our adversaries.
But in the narrow streets of heavily populated West Mosul, airstrikes may not be able to avoid civilians. The Pentagon also is looking at other airstrikes in the area to see if they might have resulted in civilians being killed. Iraqis are already calling for a reduction in airstrikes. The U.S. insists it's not yet changing how it operates. One reason, 250 troops from the 82nd Airborne are on their way to Mosul to advise Iraqi forces. Those U.S. soldiers will always have the right of self-defense to call in airstrikes. Tonight, well, for the tens of thousands of Iraqi civilians still trapped in West Mosul amongst the fighting, there is little interest in the political statements. These people are trying to stay alive. Now, as for civilian casualties, the Pentagon says this incident in Mosul is a top priority for them, but they're also investigating several other allegations of civilian casualties, and they said today that they just might not have enough personnel to get all of this wrapped up very quickly.